Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Can't believe it's Wednesday already, but here we are. As Megan said, the title of this session is just what you see on the screen. There are 3 ways to optimize your growth loops and customer journey. I think the challenge that Thomas and Matthias and I had when we got down talking about it was, hey, how do we kind of fit in that model? What are like 3 big takeaways, but also get tactical enough that folks had takeaways today as well. So I think we kind of struggled to just come up with 3. I think we came up with 3 plus plus. So I think you'll hear a lot of themes in here, while at the same time there'll be some strategic takeaways. There'll also be some tactical advice that you can take back to your desk and put into work right away. So that was really the focus for today's session. So with that, Thomas and Matthias, you guys can definitely fire up the microphones, and I will ask you to please introduce yourselves.
Cool. Thank you, Enren. I can start. Hey, everyone. Super excited to be here. I'm Matias Honorato. I'm a growth lead at Tally. And for those of you who don't know what Tally does, basically, we are the first fully automated credit card debt manager. We help our members pay up to 2 times faster their credit card debt. We have helped millions, if not more, in high interest payments and also late fees.
Great, thanks, Matthias.
Yep, and I'm Thomas Hopkins. I'm actually, as of last week, Friday, formerly the head of performance and lifecycle marketing at Masterclass. I am now at a company called SuperPeer, so where I'm the CMO and a co-founder there, where basically with SuperPeer, you probably don't know of it yet because it's a very early stage company, but I left Masterclass because Masterclass is doing an amazing job of like inspiring people to get started. Where I feel like it's missing is like really making an impact on people's lives, and the way you do that is through mentorship and through having people help you along the way. And so basically SuperPeers within 2 minutes allows anybody to have that personalized link that they can go and have paid one-on-one calls, host live streams, and then even like sell their own masterclass if they wanted to actually film one and make one. So I'm heading up that push, and we're doing great. We're doing actually really well in Turkey and in a couple of countries, but we're starting to get a lot of people traction in the US.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Thomas. Actually, I just, when I saw the news, I hopped on your LinkedIn. I see you've got a 6-minute video there that I was watching. So I encourage anybody who's on to go check out Thomas's video. It's very inspiring. So please, if you need one more thing to do while you're chowing down lunch at your desk, that would be one thing to do. So, well, with that, I know that one of the things that we talked about with growth structure and thinking about team architecture or team structure. So can you guys, and either one of you jump in here, but can you really talk about how do you architect your team or design your team to really align to the company goals? Again, right people map to the right jobs, and then maybe help us and all the folks attending, like how they might identify gaps if they have them. Can we talk about kind of the team structure, because that certainly is one of the ways that you can optimize growth loops.
You want to kick it off, Thomas?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to. This is definitely something that's top of mind right now for me as I build things out at SuperPeer. But the way I think about this is by thinking about the stage of the company. So at each stage of a company, you've got more and more specialization you can put into each part of a growth funnel. So I can tell you, I saw it at Lyft, which was like very far along. Mm-hmm. And then at Masterclass, where I got to go through from, that 100-person company to 400-person company. And now at SuperPeer, where we're 20 people. So it really depends on the stage, but I would say I think probably most of the people here are in that 100 to 500 person company. So I'll attack this answer from that point. So the way that I think about it is if you think about your funnel, right? You've got your top of the funnel, which is find people, show them the brand, get them to like the brand, and then try the brand. And then you have the next stage, which is, okay, now that they've tried the brand, we need to get them to engage with the brand or the product and retain. And so when you think about the growth, there's basically what I would call more or less like three real events or four real events you're going after. So number one, the event is like make them aware of the product and have them like the product. So that's like the brand metric. And the metric that you have is, the cost per awareness. And you have to like really monitor what is that cost per awareness. So what is that, cost per site visitor is another way to look at it. And you have teams that are built that are like literally just trying to make sure you have people come to the site and they're enjoying the brand sentiment. So brand surveys, you should always have that running. The next stage of the funnel is getting people to actually, convert. So that metric ends up being, cost per purchaser or cost per subscriber or cost per sign up. And you have a team that's specifically designed for that. So that's usually your performance marketing team and then partially your lifecycle team. And then the next step after that, that's part of that is also like your product, which is like your landing page and how well that page converts. So usually the best metric to look at there is your lifetime value per site visitor. And so if you have lifetime value per site visitor, that team can then basically continue to improve the site and all the landing pages to maximize that value and then use the winning, variants that win for that. And so then the last piece is you have your engagement and retention. And so that's usually sitting with the product team, but it has a part of it is actually with the lifecycle team, because a lot of the reason people come back is through email communication. So that's how we kind of think about it. I think about it as like, what experience are you trying to give the customer? And then therefore, which team should you have? And then therefore, what goal should they be aligned around? So everybody knows my job here is to like deliver on this target, this goal, and then improve it this amount each quarter, this year, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how I would say this stage of a company, it really makes sense to set up your growth team and your overall funnel as.
Okay, no, that's super helpful. Super helpful. Matthias, what are your thoughts there on just team organization?
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with Thomas in the sense of it's really important to first start by understanding at what stage you are, and not even from a company size, but also from a like product standpoint. Are you pre-product market fit, post-product market fit? I think those are some important things to keep in mind as well. But and this is bringing it down to my experience at Tally, right? 100. We are right now 120 employees, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we start by having a clear idea of the overall company goals and what is that mid to long-term vision. And personally, for me, those are some of the core foundational components of any growth strategy. Right. I think being able to clearly articulate where you're going is going to help you think a little bit more strategically on how to get there. And that how to get there is basically your overall growth strategy. And what are those gaps and challenges and opportunities that you see when you map your company OKRs or your company goals and that vision to your growth strategy? And then how you break that down to specific growth initiatives, right? So right now at Tally, currently the growth team lives under the marketing organization, which has some pros and cons. That's my personal view. But that was a conscious decision that was made by the company to prioritize more sustainable top of funnel acquisition. So my role at Tally has been to lead this organic growth strategy, which is basically guided by some of the most important like company OKRs, like basically channel efficiency, customer payback, LTV targets. And once that I started to put together this growth strategy, that's when it's easier for me to then break it down into specific initiatives that we want to run as a team. So in the case of Tally, what we have done is to bucket this organic growth strategy to basically map it out to the company goals in 3 core buckets. The first one is life cycle. The second one is basically content, SEO, and CRO, so conversion rate optimization for both web and mobile. And also the third bucket is product-led growth. So once that we have, once that we define those buckets, for us has been much more easier then to start mapping out, okay, what are the gaps that we have internally as a team or from a research standpoint that we need to start filling in order to hit that basically team structure and team goal of this organic growth strategy, and then how that maps back into the company OKRs.
Okay, no, it's helpful. I know we've got some other topics to jump into, but I think, can you guys each maybe give me just a real quick, like 1 minute, like how big's your team? Just maybe some title names just to kind of help folks get an idea on what you're working with.
Yeah, so I can start. At Tally, the marketing team, if I'm not mistaken, is 9 people right now. My team, which is the growth marketing team right now, is me, and we have a lifecycle marketing manager, Alex, who I think is in the audience. And we are going to be adding soon a growth product manager, and we are going to be adding as well like organic growth person to help like keep pushing this initiative, as I was talking before.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Thomas, how about you?
Yeah, I'll speak to the makeup at Masterclass. So let's see, as it relates to those, 4 main areas, I'll leave out product because once we get somebody, the product's job is like, they're constantly trying to improve the product. So I'm not going to touch that. That's a whole engineering and product org. So I'll stick to the groups we have brand marketing, we've got, and within that, you've got brand insights, you've got, brand managers. And then the next group you have is creative. So then the creative team is like making the creative for the brand, as well as for the performance, as well as for the life cycle, as well as helping with like, landing page stuff. And then the next stage after that is like what I would call like the media buying or performance and life cycle marketing. And in there, you've got, life cycle marketing managers, you've got performance marketing managers, you've got, your Facebook and Google buyers, as well as your, your managed service like TV, radio, podcasts, etc. And then on the life cycle, you obviously have people that are built to help with engagement, and you have people that are built to, that are there to help with conversion. And then on the product side, it's the same as what Matthias was saying. We have growth product managers that are working with engineers and UI UX designers to help improve the site's conversion.
Yeah.
And in terms of size, it really depends on the stage of the company. When I joined, that group that I just explained, 5 to 10 people. I say 10 because we had flex people that were doing creative. And then now, like, just the performance and lifecycle team is 15 people. So the company grows, you need to have more and more people to, support all the different things that need to be, that grow with the company.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. Thanks. Well, Thomas, while we got you talking about just the team structure and the different objectives within either Masterclass or your new firm, retention strategies, right? That's something that we talked about, before this session. Talk to me a little bit about how you think about retention strategies. That's obviously one of the other big growth loops that we can look at. Love to hear your thoughts and perspective there.
Yeah. So retention's a tough one because it's different for every company, I would say. And the reason I say it's different is like the reason people retain is different for every product. So you retain with your dentist because you have a cavity. There's some people that proactively like set the schedule to get their teeth cleaned every 6 months. I'm saying this because I got my teeth cleaned yesterday.
Me too, actually. There you go.
Yeah. And then there's, you go to the next product. It's like, gambling. I was in the gambling industry before I went to Lyft. Like, you retain because you like have this feeling of, or this urge for entertainment. And so you want to be entertained. So it depends on really what the core emotion you're trying to elicit, and and that's going to be what you actually have to try and see how you can continue to, give that feeling to people. So the way I think about retention is like, with that, then what company are you working for? and what is that emotion, what is that thing that you're trying to do for that person, or for your customer, your member, your subscriber. And so with a company like Masterclass, like, obviously we're in the education space, we want to make a difference in people's lives. So the retention piece is trying to continue to make sure that we're making a difference in somebody's life. And so if I cut to SuperPeer now, like, it really comes down to, it's a two-sided marketplace where you have people that are, going to teach their craft, and share people their experience. And then there's a group of people that are looking to learn. And so it's a different, actually, use case for each of those. And so the people looking to learn, they're trying to level up their life. They're trying to get better at their career. They're trying to get that promotion that allows them to make a little bit more money to then, change their, socioeconomic situation and make the lives of their families better. Whereas on the other side, you've got, the people that are actually teaching their craft. And usually that's a fulfillment piece. That's something where they want to feel like they're making a difference in somebody's life. So they want to feel like they're contributing. So for each of those, we actually have to end up with a different retention and engagement loop. And so the levers that you end up using to drive those retention and engagement loops are kind of your standard. You got your email, you've got your actual product, and then you've got your, so when I say email, I mean email, push, etc. You've got your actual product, and then you also have paid ads. And so those are the three levers that you want to be thinking about on, like, how do I continually, like, show this, give this message of retention. And so obviously with email, you have your standard, like, personalization. Then you've got kind of what I would call like a newsletter or blast that basically is trying to continue to establish you as a thought leader in the area that this person's trying to get. So if you're trying to become a mentor, you're constantly teaching them and showing them on a weekly basis, saying, hey, here in this blast or this newsletter, hey, this is how you be a mentor. These are the qualities. These are the feelings of fulfillment you have when you actually help people. And so then you have that to just kind of constantly establish your brand. And then on the other side with the triggers, you're making sure that you're doing personalized emails that are based on the customer's engagement with your product. Yeah. So pretty straightforward, but that's a long-winded answer of, like, it really starts with what emotion are you trying to actually elicit in your customer? And then that kind of, all of the things fall from there.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's helpful. Matthias, what are your comments on that? I mean, is Thomas speaking the truth, or is he way off base? Teasing.
No, I think especially coming from Masterclass, I have to take my hat off with the quality of their creative and ads. Talking about like appealing to an emotion, I've never seen ads like the one from Masterclass. They are really, like, touching that spot on what is the person that you want to become, how is the platform is going to enable you to become that more knowledgeable person in the world. And they do this amazingly. So I'm super excited to see what's coming next with this new endeavor.
Yeah. Well, no, that's helpful, Matthias. I know that you and I talked a little bit about activation, right? And that's something right now where, you guys are focused a lot on, just because you've got to get people in and then you got to get them really ramped up. So can you talk a little bit about, as a growth lever, how do you think about activation? How do you guys apply it at Tally?
Yeah. So if we take a step back, the way that I like to approach growth is through three big, like, concepts. The first one is building trust, and basically it's appealing to that emotion that you want to transmit through your product. So building trust with your users early on and throughout the user journey. Then removing as much as you can the friction that they're having to interact with your product. Whether, for example, we are testing right now, what happens if we drive users, instead of our mobile app where they have to install the app, we drive them into our web product? What are the difference that we see there from a kind of like reducing friction standpoint? And the third point, it's accelerating the time to value. So basically this is how fast can we present the core value props of Tally in this case. So get out of debt faster, no late fees, lower interest rates throughout that user experience, right? So for activation in particular, I like to focus in two of these. So the first one is building trust on all of those touch points of the user experience. And the second one is that acceleration, accelerating the time for the user to get the value prop. So in these two themes, I think the first one on building trust really starts by like this deep understanding on whether the potential customer really trusts your company or not, and what are the elements that on that user journey that can help build that trust, and at what points you need to present those elements. And one of the tools that we use pretty often at Tally to get a feeling for this is user research. I mean, Steve Blank's classic line was "get out of the building." Like really get out of the building, start talking with your users, start understanding what are the things that they think about your brand, your product, even your marketing strategy, right? Like what are they thinking, how they feel when they see an ad of Tally versus how they see when they see an ad of, for example, Masterclass. So really being able to go out there talking with your users is going to help you enable learnings that you can apply throughout that user experience to start building trust. And the way that we do this, it's through basically all of the brand that we have built is basically founded on these same concepts. All of the creatives that we're doing right now are appealing to that, exactly to how do we create this trust emotion on our users early on the process. You can see it on our website. So we have brought some of the like user testimonials. We have brought ways for users to engage with the product early on through reviews and things like that. So that's how we have like actually started to engage on building this trust early on and throughout that journey. And the second point, basically time to value. I think here the key concept is to understand when is the best timing to bring that value prop and what channel to use. So for this, I'm gonna use an example, lifecycle marketing. So Alex, who might be in the audience, he has been leading all of our lifecycle marketing efforts. He has done an incredible job on being able to push lifecycle as a channel that takes the high level OKRs of the company, takes the objectives that we have as a team for this growth strategy, and applies these two concepts of building trust and basically be able to reduce the time to value. And this throughout the user experience. So lifecycle as a way to engage users right after they have created an account. Lifecycle as a way to engage users that are not adding their credit cards. So how we can prompt them in that experience to bring some of that value prop on the benefits of them adding as much cards as possible. And then lastly, when we give this user an offer, we see that they're not taking the offer, how do we keep pushing that value prop on those specific points? So lifecycle has been huge for us on that sense. And just to add quickly, I think that's where experimentation and conversion rate optimization also takes like a huge role. So that's something that we are closely working with the product team. There's like multiple stakeholders on this with the design team, but basically experimentation enable you to fast iterate and learn into what are those specific points and when and how you should present these messages.
Got it. Okay, no, it's super helpful. Thanks. Well, I know that we're getting close to wrapping up here. We got a few minutes left. I think I definitely want to make sure the audience leaves with, maybe a big learning or a big takeaway. Even if you look at the last year, what was something you guys each did in your respective roles that really had an impact that maybe somebody else could apply? Matthias, just please, if there's something that comes to mind, please share it, because I think it'd be a good gem.
Yeah, I think throughout last year, I've played a pretty kind of like a different role from what I'm used to, which is like more of this role of evangelization. So I think we all here have heard of product-led growth, organic growth loops, which is like everyone is talking about it. But I think there's few companies that actually do these really well, and that is part of the DNA of their product organizations and how this can enable your growth strategy. So I'm a big believer that growth should come from the product, and you shouldn't force growth into the product. So that has been one of the biggest learnings for me. It's been really being an advocate of this new framework and mindset, and not share this across the growth marketing organization, but also being sure that the product team, the design team, even the leadership team are aware that as a company, we need to be like first party growth driven and not third party growth driven. So I think that has been one of my biggest learnings through the year. Takes time, takes effort, a lot of headaches and conversations, but once that everyone gets aligned, things start to happen much more easier for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thomas, what do you have to share?
Yeah. The biggest thing I'll share is probably the same thing I shared in my LinkedIn post, but I'll add a little bit more context to it. So it's comes from Kim Scott. I mean, it's about caring personally. We had a tough year. There's been a lot of hardship. There's been a lot of things that have happened, and it's been really hard on everyone. And I think it became really important that we just all really show we care about each other. And if it takes us all to basically get to know each other at a company level, at a personal level, to really make sure that we all know we're all on the same team and we're all human. We all make mistakes and we're all trying to get better. And so when you have a team that approaches life that way and approaches the job that way, it makes everything work better. And so I would say that's like, it starts with the people, it starts with the culture. And I think Masterclass has done an amazing job at that. And that's why I'll say it was actually really hard for me to leave. But if we talk about like tactically, one of the biggest things that I think, is going to be even more important now with iOS 14.5 is just the importance of an email address. And then being able to use that email address as your new identifier. And so I think you're going to see lots of companies doing their absolute best to get an email address first before they even get somebody to convert. And then you're going to see basically more importance going into the personalization. So collecting every data point on an individual based on their email address that happens on the platform, even before purchase or after purchase. And then actually being able to like map that data in a way that shows, the charts that you need to see, the cohorts you need to see to really evaluate every single, customer and give them the right experience based on what the data is saying. And I'd say that like, that's something that we did really well over the past, 2 years at Masterclass that I was there, is just, that when you have a considered purchase like that, sometimes people purchase right away, but other times people take a while. They got to let their emotions brew a little while until all of a sudden, like, it's time to buy. And I think something that like really hit home for me this last year, just in understanding that data, is just the marrying of brand and performance. And so, the way I describe it is like Simon Sinek nails it, but I actually take what Simon Sinek talks about is like the why, the how, the what. And, you got to talk about what you believe. And I think that's what Masterclass does really well. We believe in making a difference. We believe, and that's what we're going to, that's what basically is happening is the brand side. And this is why lots of teams have trouble speaking to each other. Brand teams are really good about like showing we believe and like showing the emotions. The performance side is really good about using logic. Well, here's the what, this is what I'm seeing. And then Simon Sinek nails it where he says like these two parts of the brain can't speak to each other. And it's why I think teams a lot of times have trouble speaking to each other between like the brand and the performance side. And so what I'm saying is like, you end up having to start with that care. You got to start with the empathy, and you got to start understanding we're all here for the same common purpose. And then I think something that really helps that is like, well, you can see charts, you can see data. And then the brand team can, help tell the story of what's actually happening. So I think having that tool set and the ability to see that in a lifecycle marketing system is one of the most valuable things that you can have.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Well, I know that we're at the end of the session, so Thomas, Matthias, really appreciate you guys participating and sharing your knowledge and perspective. And I think Megan, we'll turn it back over to you.